Hello, you're watching Avenue X, and today let's talk about a recently just finished airing Chinese web drama, 不眠日 Mobius. This is a 16 episodes drama that went live on September the 17th. There are a lot of things that's quite unique about it, so let me talk about that one by one. First, this drama goes live on both iQIYI and Netflix. It is directed by Liu Zhangmu and Yu Fujiang. Liu Zhangmu is a director of a previous drama that Bai Jingting led. In Bai Jingting, the lead actor's own words, he got the script before it was fully finished. And usually he wouldn't agree to sign on this type of project. But because of his previous cooperation with this director, that went really well. He trusted it's a good story, so he signed up before he actually read the whole thing. And this is a really interesting director too, because during the airing of Mobius, I've noticed on social media, he's actually very active, replying, talking to audiences, getting feedbacks. It is adapted by scriptwriter Bi Qiang and Jiang Wuji, and it's based on a novel written by the author Zhang Xiaomao. This is another interesting part of this story. Zhang Xiaomao is an author who previously has written script for the very well-known Chinese variety show Who's the Murderer? 明星大侦探. This is the variety show where Bai Jingting has taken part in and been known as one of those guest stars who's pretty good at detective work. When the drama comes around, there's a director who's worked with him previously, there's a scriptwriter whose show he's been on, and somehow, perfect choice, and then they picked him, and it turned out to be a pretty good choice for this role. As for this original IP, literally means reversing time, detective group. And this novel actually has 4 different books in it, and each book is talking about a form of time travel. You have, for example, for this drama, Mobius, the world runs into a looping day where it happens 5 times. And basically you have 5 opportunities to live the day, and eventually when that comes to an end, the last day's version of that day will become the written down in history version. And the first 4 will be erased, and only a few people would remember that because they happen to have this ability, and the drama will tell you why. There are other stories in this series books that's talking about, for example, time travel, like the traditional way of going back in time. There's different other distortion of time and space and continuum or whatever. So that's this author's collection of time travel related stories, and they picked one specific story among that to be as the base of this drama. It is led by Bai Jingting, Wen Yongshan, Song Yang as 3 of the most important characters. Obviously, there's the Thailand actress who I didn't recognize it's her. I was just like, she's so familiar looking. Who is her? And I remembered eventually exams, geniuses doing the sort of high school, going to university exams, cheating. Alkbab, I think that's her nickname because she has a very, very long name that I will not attempt to pronounce in case I just totally mess it up here. And the production actually took some time to do. They started shooting at the end of 2024, December, and then they didn't finish shooting until almost the end of March this year. In terms of production location, it's mostly shot in Guangdong province plus Macau. So these are all the basic production informations that I find really interesting about this project. Right off the bat, I would say it's a very good drama. I wouldn't say it's 3 gold mine for me in terms of this particular genre, because thriller, case-breaking, time travel is a really specific genre, and it's not easy to do a very good job. To be a 3 gold mine of this kind of drama, you kind of have to qualify almost in every department as top-notch, where I don't think this drama has fully achieved that yet. So it wouldn't be a 3 gold mine time travel / thriller drama for me, but it would be like a 2.5 or something. It's like pretty good. Before I talk about the great things and not so great things about it, I will first, as usual, introduce you to the brief plot. This is set in a contemporary but fictional city that you can think of it as a mixture of like somewhere in Guangdong province, south of China, with Macau, with Hong Kong, that kind of vibe going on. You will hear people with very classic standard northern accent Mandarin, like our male lead character and a couple of other people in this drama. You'll hear people who really cannot speak Mandarin but struggles to because they're from Hong Kong. You have the actress from Thailand who would speak parts of Chinese and English, and she's doing a great job. So this is like the fictional mixed together city that tries to reason it as much as possible, but sometimes still feels a little bit jarring for, let's say, mainland audiences to believe the setup. It's in such a city that our male lead character works as a policeman, a very good policeman. And one of the reasons he could be so good is he's one of those people who can remember the looping day. So in this world, every maybe 20 days, 30 days, it's not said. Almost like it's every month, one day occurs multiple times. Normal people would not have memory, so they will live it as normal. Whereas people like him, and later you'll find out there are other people, and there's a reason why they have this ability, would live it 5 times. During those 5 times same day, you basically have 4 chances of rewriting the history, because the first day you wouldn't know it's a looping day until it gets looped for the first time, which is the second time you live the day, you realize, oh, I'm in the loop. So you have second, third, fourth, fifth day to live different versions of the day. But on the 5th day, which is the 4th time you realize you're looping, everything you have done that day will become consolidated and become history. So this is how time is set up in this universe. He initially discovered his ability during his years in university, and then after that he started to make notes and figure out the mechanism of it. Although he doesn't know when it's going to occur, but every time it occurs, he tries to do something interesting, such as buying lottery, getting himself rich, and which he succeeded at doing, such as trying out things he would not dare trying out because he knows he can rewrite it. So this person eventually becomes a policeman, and his ability does help him break cases. In the first episode, it will actually give you all the basic mechanisms of how it works, how he dealt with it, and how it actually plays out in the first kind of case. It's a super condensed first episode that pretty much gets everything you need to know delivered to you. And then pretty much from episode 2, midpoint onwards, it starts to talk about the main section of the story, which is after a looping day where he solved a big case. He realized on the same day there was actually another case happening. He got introduced to after the looping day has finished, so he cannot rewrite it anymore. And he goes to solve that case, and that's the rest of this drama, because it turns out to be a very big case and involves a lot of characters. Later, as he would find out, by solving this case, he also solves the mystery of why he had this ability in the first place. So this is kind of the structure of the story. And since it's a really interesting story, I don't want to really spoil that for you. I'm not going to go into more detail about exactly what that case is, who are involved, and what is the reason why this whole thing happens. I will just say it gives you an overall pretty satisfactory explanation of how this happens, how he got the ability, how it actually works, and then how it works into solving this case, and who is behind it, who are bad guy, good guy, eventually how this gets resolved. Now, let's talk about what's great and not so great about it. I'm gonna talk about all the good things later and just quickly mention a couple of things I think it could do better. Number 1, it has, in a few places, lazy plot. And it happens towards the end of the drama where it's needed to be pushing everything to the explosive ending. Yet there's this old plot that really just bring down the energy for me, which is basically close to the end of the drama when the male lead is needed on the battleground to figure out things, and it's like dire importance. You have this very old tropey plot where the bad guy does a little thing, and because our lead is in the police force, so they have to follow rules, he just created a hiccup for him to lock him up for a while that he couldn't take free actions. And it's like on the brink of solving the whole thing, and the time is ticking because it's the last day, you can't rewrite it anymore, and everybody is under so much pressure, and you're like, as audiences on the edge of your seat, you're like, get it done. You need the guy to be running out there to get things sorted because he's the only person who remembers, like, on the good people's side. Yet, like, they create that plot just to stop him and lock him up. Obviously he'll get out of it later, but it's just so anticlimax and so expected. It's so expected, and as you're finishing high, you get jabbed. So it leaves a really strong impression, and it just makes me really not happy about it. So that's one complaint I have very specifically about one plot design that actually I think really greatly affected my enjoyment. Second thing, this is totally me, and also I think it only works on mainland Chinese people who speak mainland Chinese language and grew up in mainland. In this drama, in this particular fictional city, and in this police department, the workings of relationship and how people call each other is really odd. In China's police system, you never hear 老板, which is boss, like some kind of private company way of calling your boss, like your leader. People would literally usually just call your rank or your proper job, like if you're team leader, right? You're 队长, or you're 局长, you're like the police bureau or whatever branch leader. It would just be a very normal, that kind of name. Now, I know this is a fictional setting. It's like a Hong Kong police vibe drama mixed a little bit with like the mainland people together. So it works in this fictional world setting, but you have no idea how weird it sounds to mainland people. In my ears, when I hear Bai Jingting, who speaks with such a strong mainland northern accent that is very, very mainland system, saying 老板 or 老大, it almost has this feeling of it never actually fully gelled. It's like the team is made with people who are not making sense to fully sort of work so seamlessly together yet completely different. The even odder thing is one of the person that is under him, under Bai Jingting, right, who is the team leader in this case, is an actor who's much older than him, like 13 years older, and who usually nowadays plays dad. That guy, you know, he's from 星落凝成糖. He's the really good father of the human realm. Really good actor, okay? I have no problem. I really like him. But it's so odd that he has to call Bai Jingting 老大. The actors who play totally different age range characters these days. Yet the older one is calling the much younger one 老大. I think people from Eastern Asia, Japanese people and Korean people will understand me better in terms of how odd it sounds. Like it never sits correct with you. You can't imagine in China, when it's not as strict as Korea, where you have this Sunbei Hobei kind of like culture, even if you're one day older than the other person, like you're over them. China doesn't have that, but a general sort of recognition of if I'm like 10 years older than you, it's really odd for me to call you 老大, even though maybe in the job title you are like manager. People probably would just call each other by their surname. Like if you're older, you're called 老 something, old something. If you're younger, you're called 小 something. Or if you want to respect a younger person who's actually your superior, you just call their job like manager Lee, for example, or manager somebody. You will not call them like 老大. It's just so odd. So I never actually could get this sorted in my head watching the 16 episodes. It always is odd when I see those older guys calling Bai Jingting 老大. I always just get this. I'm like, it's like not gonna actually happen. I think in a way it takes me out of the story a bit because it's so far from reality. One tiny final thing is because our male lead character has this memory of all the looping days. He would basically come with information and nobody knows where he gets it because he gets in a looping day yet nobody has memory of. So he would usually ask for a lot of support, help, or literally giving information to his leaders saying, today at this hour this is gonna happen, you need to get these people ready. And obviously as the leader who would be always asking, where did you get information? And he couldn't explain that. He would just say, you have to trust me. And also he's like, if I explain to you, you're not gonna believe it anyway. Under certain circumstances, it got too weird and you would not get away with a normal person when they don't have the memory of a looping day and they cannot trust where you get your information. Yet this drama, I think for the ease of the plot development, just let it slide. Let the leader to be somebody who just really adores our male lead to the extent that he would just let him do anything and trust him blindly almost. It happens too many times and sometimes it's just like, no way, like no way anybody would let him just go like that. Now I understand because time travel stories, right? At some point you just have to pick between, do you want to keep the pacing of the story going or do you want to actually be absolutely realistic about how people would actually react to it? And by the end of the story, he still couldn't fully believe the world they create. I'm like 90% sold, but there's like 10% I'm like, yeah. Sometimes it still feels the oil and the water hasn't fully blended into an emotion. Let's just put it that way. Now, all the great things about this drama. Number one, if you like any type of time travel, time loop story, if you've watched Reset a few years ago, also led by Bai Jingting, also a time looping drama, this is also a similar drama. It's more complicated. It's not so singly focused like Reset because Reset is just about a bomb on a bus and trying to solve that, like super simple. Whereas this one has actually a lot more characters and a lot more previous history, later history, all the people's sort of involvement into the final result. But in terms of being exciting, being a very qualified thriller of time travel, case-breaking murder, this is a pretty exciting ride. And I think it's really fitting to go on Netflix. It's like a very expected Netflix type of drama. So if that's your cup of tea, you want to watch a drama that's pretty easy to watch, 16 episodes, not dragged out, with a pretty interesting plot and the mechanisms of how the time looping happens, go for this one. You're unlikely to get disappointed. Second, the overall production quality of this story is very, very acceptable. As a contemporary drama, it's shot with this very matured feeling. No wasted time and energy on things that are uncertain. Sometimes when you watch a drama, you feel like the cameraman or the director is uncertain about what they want for the scene. In this drama, you feel always the director knows exactly what he wants for the scene. How many shots, from what angle, how we edit, it together, how we cover, what are the cues of the acting from the actors we need for each moment. Every turn of the head, every look has a meaning, and it's like following the tradition of visual storytelling pretty well. So it wouldn't have like really stupid mistakes, weird things that you don't know what they're doing, and wasting your time and ambiguous expression, right? It doesn't have that. It's very, very well controlled, mainstream, standard, commercial, proper drama. I like the production design quite a lot. There's a lot of effort they put in production design where they dress up certain locations that look probably much less interesting in reality, added a lot of things with their effort to make it look like this imagined place that's like vision board you do with all the cuttings from all magazines. It's like an impression of a typical Hong Kong like city, what it should look like, that is clearly dressed from a set that wouldn't naturally look like that, yet makes it believable enough, yet also makes you realize it's not really the real Hong Kong or Macau. It's like a pretty well done kind of imagined space. There's a lot of clue they actually put in production design that you probably would not notice at first glance. And this is requiring you to actually freeze the frame and read all the names of the shops, first character of every shop name on the street. You link them together, it's telling you who's the bad guy. I'm like, it's intentional, but it's not like anybody would really notice that unless they have photographic memory and also they happen to be Chinese. The type of thing when you notice, you understand the people who are making the drama really love their own story and like their effort and want to put everything they have into it. And they know most people would not notice it. It wouldn't affect the quality of the storytelling eventually, but they just can't help it. And also because this is a fictional but very mixed city of people from everywhere, also in its OST, it reflects that different languages, different types of music that you probably wouldn't always get in contemporary Chinese dramas. This one does vibe a lot more like it is a production that's made by multiple different groups of people from very different backgrounds. And also, if you really, really like very great fighting sequences, whether it's hand-to-hand combat or guns and explosions, you're gonna get quite a lot. When it suddenly needs the male lead to be the hero, you're gonna get enough slow motion shot of people like shooting guns and fighting others in very cool ways. Camera is really well designed. The sequences of fighting is good looking on camera, and Bai Jingting does look very good. He's done a couple of dramas previously, proving that he actually can play a very convincing soldier. This one is just a soldier with shades and suits and ties and looking cool. So if that's your cup of tea, you're gonna also get a lot. The last thing is, I really enjoying a drama that really just provides me entertainment. There's no huge epic messages in it. It has no heavy histories like a couple of other dramas I've recently talked about, which I highly appreciate, but they talk about a real history, for example, in China's past, that's really, really heavy, and you cannot really look at it in any lighthearted and entertainment way. This one is just like, doesn't give you any of those burden. It's just there to entertain you, and I got really entertained. And I also highly appreciate one thing about this drama is it really is very clear about its hierarchy and priority because it's Mobius. Look at the title, it's talking about that loop. So the looping, the time travel, and what happens with it, the thriller element, all of that kind of thing is the core of the story, is the interesting thing, and they know exactly what they're doing, so they keep that as narrative priority. They give most time, energy to that part of the drama. And then along the way, you see a little bit character development, you see the personal side of characters, you see a little bit romance, but it only happens at necessary place. It definitely doesn't forget at the core, it needs to get the time looping thing done and done well first. Then we think about the other things. You don't get anything overriding the other. You don't have halfway through the story suddenly turns into a stupid romantic drama. Even to the last moment when you think it's like, oh, finally high romance ending, oh, it's all gonna be perfect. It gives you this one look back. It's like, hold on, we're in the thriller drama. So we ended in a thriller drama way. And I still appreciate that. It means director, storyteller, everybody knows the genre. You always just have to serve that anticipation from the audience. And so many other dramas are so not doing that these days in Chinese drama land. These are, I think, what I can think of as the positive side of this drama without really spoiling you again about what it is, because I really want you to go and watch the drama yourself. At the end of this video, I would say, last couple of years, unfortunately, hasn't been very good for Bai Jingting. Before the Chinese CCTV Spring Festival Gala thing happened, he was overall like a pretty okay traffic, not so traffic, but traffic actors in China that overall doesn't have really any big problems and people overall have a pretty good impression of him. It is really from that point onwards, his more public reputation hasn't been very good. And I know his first Frost drama was quite popular outside of China. But I've said very clearly in my previous videos in the last year or two that I don't buy anything of that drama, and I think it's quite ridiculous, that drama overall. I don't like the message it has. I'm just saying personally, I haven't had a really good impression of him, including that drama and a couple of other things. And that's like, honestly, but I've never been a fan. Like, I'm not a fan of anybody anyway, but I've never been a fan of his acting. And when his drama shows up, usually it's if the drama itself is interesting, I'll watch it. It's not because he is in it. His sometimes is like irrelevant in terms of whether I would watch the drama or not. But after watching Reset, like the Qingqing Richang, the first Frost, that Train 1970s drama I couldn't continue watching. Oh, also like his drama with Ma Sichun. I think to me, it's pretty clear as a young actor, the type of roles he is suited for is more actually not on him specifically as the leading character who holds the story fully on him as a person, whether it's a romantic drama or anything. And the typical romantic drama really isn't the best thing for him. If the drama is actually mostly relying on a very strong plot, event-driven, setup-driven, like a time travel story, and tagged along is a character he has as, you know, he pushes the story, but mostly he's serving events instead of serving the overall image of him as a male lead. If he's doing a drama of that type, it usually actually can work better. It actually turns out to be a more positive overall impression of him as the lead instead of Nan Hong First Frost, where it's totally a romantic story where you are literally just looking at male lead and female lead as a human themselves, and everything is sort of happening for the purpose of making them look good as the lead. When that type of drama happens, when he leads it, you pay every attention to whether his lines are clearly delivered, whether his acting is a little bit awkward of the moment, does it like actually sell, or maybe the character on paper is such a, like, why would you even like this type of guy? You will not notice that, right? If it's in a heavy plot driven story, it wouldn't have the screen time basically for those things. You would just look at the plot. Along the line, you see sort of the attractive side of that character. And that kind of works better for him. I don't know, for the longevity of the career, maybe this type of drama is a better choice for him. But I do know if you like choose First Frost type of drama where it's totally riding on your personal charisma, and if people like this particular type of, you can get more popular. If you keep going down that route, right, you're basically locking yourself down fully as a traffic actor. I do feel the trend of things is the more traffic you are these days, the less valuable, and quickly your value is gonna devalue. As we notice the trend of things changing in the last year or two now, it will become very small in terms of your choices, roles, and future development as an actor. That's only obviously if you really want to be an actor for long term, which I have no idea if that's his choice. I just noticed he is a much more interesting and acceptable actor to me when he's in plot-heavy drama. That should be the last thing I can think of that I want to talk about of Mobius 不眠日. So, at the end of this video, I would actually highly recommend this drama for you. If you have iQIYI and Netflix, it's typical entertainment value-heavy drama that will entertain you. Can't say that for most of the other Chinese dramas, unfortunately, so it's already a very successful case in this genre. That will be the end of this video. Thank you for watching Avenue X. I'll see you in my next video. Meanwhile, live long and happy drama watching.